I've chosen to read the book Moonwalking with Einstein by Joshua Foer. It is all about the art and science of remembering everything, literally. Joshua Foer is a journalist in Pennsylvania, and as he is walking through the heavy weightlifting championships Hall of Fame, he notices a picture of the world's strongest man, and that really makes him think, who's the world's smartest man? Later in Pennsylvania, he goes on to see and learn about memory championships. As a journalistic topic, he goes on to discover these things and to study and research them. By doing this, he meets several competitors who have been doing this all their lives, and he meets one in particular foreigner who's actually from Great Britain, who tells him that any average brain, like Joshua Foyer's, if used properly, can win the memory championship. It's all about how you remember and what remembering means. It has nothing to do with the size of your brain or anything like that, which is kind of necessary, contrary to belief. The reason I'm persuading you to read this book today is for three reasons. First, you can learn the origin of memory. Second, to learn how the memory works. And third, to learn tricks how to make your memory better and how to really use your memory as an effective tool. Memory is something that doesn't get accounted as much because computers are so much smarter in certain things, but I really am here to prove with a little practice and a little bit of technique, your memory can take you farther than any computer can. The first reason I want you all to read this book is to learn about the origin of memory. Obviously, humans have been around for a long time, and they've obviously remembered things from quite a while back. Anybody can remember things. But what really struck me is whenever I was reading this book is to learn that Cicero, an ancient philosopher back from Greece, actually invented techniques back in that time to remember things. That was just really weird to me that he thought of these techniques himself to prepare himself better and other people better to memorize things. I really didn't think anything like that type of thinking would be around back then, but it's just so weird to read more about the origin and stuff of memory. It's just really neat thinking that these people took into consideration these things. And the first reason you should read this book is to learn the origin of our memory. The second reason I think you all should read this book is to learn how the memory works. Throughout this book, Joshua Foer either interviews or talks about different types of memories and these different types of people. For example, he talks about, in one chapter, it's called The Man Who Remembered Too Much. It's about a man named S who was a journalist, and he remembered everything that was said to him verbatim. He didn't understand why other people couldn't do this too. He thought he was normal. And what proved is like different things in his brain worked differently. He connected things differently like different people. It then makes a transition into the man who couldn't remember anything. He talks about a man named E.P. What happened to him is he had an infection earlier in his life, and it caused him to forget everything. There were certain things that struck memories to him, but he couldn't remember your name 5 minutes later. He took a certain walk every single day, and that was about the only thing he could tell you. Sometimes he would have breakfast 2 times a day because he didn't know. Joshua Farrar really puts great detail into this book of the different types of memories and how the memory really works different for other people and what helps you memorize things like the tricks, the different types of people, the way they learn different things. He really puts great detail into explaining that, and that made it really cool for me just to learn. Like, memories are so cool when you think about it. It really is neat the way we can memorize things, and we just don't use that part of our brain. And the second reason you should read the book is to learn how the memory works. Now on to the third reason. The third reason I believe that you should read this book is to learn memory tricks for yourself. What's better than being able to memorize your grocery list without having to carry it around with you? That's just a hassle. There are various tricks throughout this book that Ed or Joshua Foyer both explain that really do help me. I mean, they are effective, such as Memory Palace, which you'll realize next. It'll explain it better in the book. You pick a place that's familiar to you, and you put your certain list of things throughout that house or place that they're doing something crazy. Like if you remember eggs, think of eggs falling from the ceiling as soon as you walk into the door. Different things like that that really do help you remember. I mean, it sounds silly, but the looter, the weirder, the funnier things that you think of, you'll remember better. I mean, everyone always complains about their memory or walking into a room without remembering anything. So why not read this book and get a head start on memorizing things for the rest of your life? This way you'll be more prepared when you have kids, when you're in college, whatever you're doing with your life. You'll be more prepared and ready just to take on the grocery store. And the third reason you should read this book, in recap, is so you can learn the tricks to remember everything. In all honesty, this really is one of the best nonfiction books I've ever read. I really do encourage all of you to read it. First, to learn the origin of memory. Second, to learn how the memory works. And third, to learn tricks for yourself so you can become a master of remembering everything. Like Ed said in the book, an average mind can do profound things, and I'm sure you'll all be able to also after you've read Moonwalking with Einstein.